Hi, haters.
Hi, haters. Welcome to the maiden episode of our podcast. I am Soda,
I'm Kayla.
and this is
We couldn't be nicer.
Because we couldn't be.
We're really going to try super hard.
What are we talking about today, Kayla?
We're talking about challengers.
Who isn't talking about challengers?
I don't know.
I
Straight
don't
people.
know.
How many times did you see challengers?
3.
Okay, me too.
In theaters.
Same. Yeah.
So we're not done. What is Challengers about?
It's a movie about tennis.
And only tennis. There's no sex in the movie, so it's not about sex.
There's
obviously.
no sex in the movie.
So Challengers, if you don't know already, it's about tennis players. You know, they're in their youth. They're what, before college, 17, 18 years old.
Yeah.
They're winning their young youth opens.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're...
I probably should have learned more about tennis before we did this, but...
No. We have Art and we have Patrick. And they're 2 buds, just friends.
2 best buds that went to tennis sleepaway boarding school.
Right. And nothing more. They're just friends.
They're just friends. Whether or not you taught your best friend at 12 how to masturbate has no bearing on your sexuality whatsoever. You're
Definitely
just bros.
So they're at this open, and Patrick is already aware of the effervescent Tashi fucking Duncan, who is the baddest bitch in young tennis.
And he's like, "Listen, I love this girl. Are we going to the party?" Or it's like, "Fuck you and fuck that party and that girl by proxy." And so they wait after they win their own match and eat a phallic substance number 1.
Right.
Hot dogs.
Right.
Just scarf down hot dogs together.
Patrick eats Art's hot dog.
He does that then too?
Yeah. He takes it out of his hand. And they both like Tashi, and so they do end up going to this party. And again, Patrick is immediately interested. And Tashi seems a bit more intrigued by Art. By vanilla blonde little Art.
I will say that it's like The Sims when like you meet characters and it's like plus line, minus line, minus line.
Mm.
And I think Tashi is initially attracted to Art because he gets tennis. Like they feel the same way about tennis. And so that's why she's like, ooh, let's go and play this.
But it's not until after they meet at this party and they invite her at the beach that they have a conversation about what tennis is. Where she says that tennis is a relationship.
Tashi Duncan.
She felt like the natural starting point of this conversation because in this podcast in general, the thesis behind it is being opinionated, outspoken women / people socialized as women as a non-binary. And what that means, especially as people of color, where it's like, oh, so you're a cunt, so you're a bitch, so you're a hater.
You're mean. Why is it that to be uncompromising is to be mean or to be a bitch or to be disliked automatically? And it's just like, no, just because I'm not a people pleaser or I didn't say something the way you might have said and I didn't say sorry and thank you and please 800 times doesn't make me mean. I think it just makes me direct. Yeah, I don't believe that people should compromise on their feelings or who they are as people. And I think there's a difference between being mean, which implies, an intent to hurt someone purposefully, and just not being nice because you feel obligated to. I think niceness is a courtesy that
not everyone deserves it.
Yeah.
Like, we should be kind to society, kind to people, but nice is,
I don't have to smile if I want to.
What does that mean? And I think we are so attracted to Tashi Duncan because we love other mean women in movies.
We do.
We, Catherine Keener. Maxine and being John Malkovich is mean, but it's for a purpose, and there's a seductive journey that she goes on.
Yeah.
And, she's still, again, uncompromising, knows what she wants, and knows that some people cannot provide things for her. And why waste her time on people who can't provide for you?
Period. These people, they're not people to aspire to in any means. That's not what we mean. It's just, it's fun to see that on screen.
It's fun because they're hot.
It's fun because they're hot and we're hot.
And we're hot, and we're mean.
And we're mean.
And we're reclaiming that.
We are reclaiming that. And it's not like Regina George. Like, she's a bad person. I think that these people aren't bad people. And I think Tashi Duncan is written off as a bad person. And I don't think that's true for most of the movie. I think that she does a few things that I wouldn't have done. But, you know, what are you going to do?
What are you going to do? And I think what is so great about Challengers is the script, honestly. It's such an intentionally written script. So much of it is written understanding what's going to be written later and paralleling different lines of dialogue. And so one of the most repetitive lines of dialogue is the boys asking Tashi what she wants. And Tashi subverting expectations and responding with things like, what else could I want? Is that what you think I want? And it's this game of like trying to understand her when she's kind of laying all her cards out from the beginning.
Especially because she says exactly what she wants in the beginning. Yeah. And her wants never change.
No, she's so
in
consistent.
The entire movie. It doesn't change. She said she wants to see some good fucking tennis.
And that's what they need to provide. And by the end, that's what they provide. That's the catharsis, is the good tennis that they failed to provide that whole time.
Throughout the whole movie, because they were too busy being stupid.
Yeah.
The quintessential mean girl, in quotations, in movies, and how really what their goal is always self-preservation. And does that border on selfishness sometimes? But I think from the beginning, we see Tashi, she has so much to lose. And I think from a young age, you know, I think everybody has kind of figured out that she's the eldest girl. She's the provider for her family. Like, her going pro in tennis is, she's got an Adidas deal. Like, she is going to provide for her family. She's going to be, you know, this beacon for little black girls who want to play tennis. Like, she is going to be the next Serena Williams. I don't know if Serena exists in this universe. I think that the boys are a distraction for her from the very beginning, and that they're always towing this line of being worth her time and not being worth her time. And for her, she's still a young girl. She wants to be able to interact with other people, but I think the dog in her writes other people off because they don't think about tennis in the same way she does. She can't learn anything of value from them, which attracts her to them. But I think she knows deep down that, like, they are a distraction, that this is a bad thing. So she keeps them at arm's length. But she's always pulled back by tennis, and that's how she justifies their relationship. She has to make it about tennis, or else they shouldn't matter to her. Right. There are bigger things, there are more important things to her. We are talking about tennis because that makes our time, the time that I'm not focused on my own tennis, valuable. And after her injury, Art kind of gives her that in, and it's like, okay, well, I can still be close to tennis. I can make him a fantastic tennis player.
And I think that's the hardest part about unrealized ambition, is how quickly people can call that bad. Like, that who you become when your ambition is unrealized, bad. But that she is still putting so much of herself into Art, and to see him wane and to see him let go is a luxury that he has that she doesn't, because she was forced to let go. And we just have to remember that, like, she is operating on a level of grief that the other two are not. Because the only thing that they've lost, the boys have lost, are each other. And that was their choice.
That was 100% their choice.
So let's talk about the boys.
Yeah. It's about winning the points that matter.
I don't matter?
Not even to the most obsessive tennis fan in the world. Who's the most obsessive tennis fan in the world?
Gee, I wonder, who could it be?
It's fucking Tashi. And I think the sauna scene is so important because they're arguing about two different things. That's not what Patrick came to argue about. That's not what Patrick came to fuck with him about. He came to talk about each other. He came to talk about Art. Art, you know, is driving home the knife that he has Tashi. He's her husband. They have a baby together. That's what he's implying. And Patrick just doesn't feel remembered or seen, and that hurts his feelings. He doesn't feel hurt until that moment, and he's like, I fucked Tashi. Like, what are you talking about? Like, this is our game. Like, that's what we're doing. And Art, you know, Art doesn't seem to, like, let on that he understood what he was saying, But I think they always know what they're saying. They're doubles partners. They know their each and every move. I don't think that Art and Patrick are ever surprised by each other because they know each other so well. And the dialogue also lets us know that in many different ways.
He comes in with this playful competitiveness that they've always had,
but
Art has changed because at the beginning he's this yapper with Patrick. Him and Patrick, he is talking so much, but in his adult scenes with Tashi, he is so silent. He is expressionless. He has nothing left to give. And so, like, for Patrick to walk in thinking that they're going to play like old times and to encounter an Art that has no respect for him, no joy with him, no banter at all, Patrick is like, oh, what are we doing? I thought we were somewhere else together, you and me.
Yeah, and I thought that we could always go back to the people that we were. So when Art loses the match and therefore Tashi, he has to watch Patrick and Tashi do their little long distance little college love fling, and it's super cute, and he hates it. And I think it's important to think about what Art hates about it, because I think he just doesn't like being left out, but I think that a big part of Art and his not having a personality, he doesn't know how to love people. I think he envies them, and the way that he gets over that is by getting what they have. So with Patrick, it's Tashi. Even though he clearly loves Patrick, but he wants what Patrick has. He wants to be a better tennis player, and he wants to have Tashi. And he gets both those things, and
he has to like steal parts of them to do that.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't have the instinct for tennis that Patrick and also that Tashi has. And so he has to like steal who they are in order to become a better tennis player.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, they are kind of left out of the picture. So like, great, he gets to succeed, but you succeeded because of us and what we made you.
And I think that's such an interesting part about Art, and why I don't really hate Art. I don't know. I kind of like that about him. That little snaky resourcefulness.
He's his own mean girl.
He is his own mean girl. He is a chameleon. He sucked up all the good parts about them and left only the bad. And so in the end, that quest for winning, it left him empty because he forgot what brought him there.
He lost the people who made it fun for him.
Yeah, it was Patrick. Like, he loved Patrick. Patrick, cutest man on the planet. You miss him. That was your man.
I think that's what's so frustrating, and what drives home the fact that it's really not Tashi's fault is, so the scene that really makes me angry is after Tashi gets hurt and she's in like the little nurse office, and motherfucking Art is there with him, and Patrick walks in apologetic, and Tashi tells him to go, and Patrick is begging to stay, and Art takes it upon himself to tell Patrick to get the fuck out. And that infuriates me to no end. He is directly putting himself in the picture and assuming this savior attitude. Like, he's just her little sidekick. And when it flashes to the Applebee's and they're
fucking Applebee's,
and they're at dinner, and she's like, have you spoken to him? He's like, no. And I'm like, why? You did this. You made that fight happen. You got in their heads. You, like, yeah, everyone makes their own fucking choices, but like, you know that you played a part, and the fact that you took it upon yourself to be there for Tashi and completely cut out Patrick, you're fucking twisted, bro. Like, you're twisted as fuck. And that's the thing, is also what we are about is like passivity and being so anti-passivity, and that passivity is almost more destructive than being a blunt bitch willing to confront people, because these passive people can, like you said, are chameleons, and they weave their way into spaces, and you think like, oh, they're so innocent, they were there for me, they were a support system, but really they have their own motives, and they're willing to do whatever it takes to make sure that you end up the bad guy, not them, because they're reactive. They're just reacting. Patrick did it first, and Art is just reacting on behalf of Tashi. And I hate him.
That's a word about passivity. I can't even touch that. It'll become a whole different podcast. the whole incident with the Tashi's match and her injury, this all happens the same day as the churro scene, where he's like, you're playing percentage tennis. I see what you're doing. And
this is what's missing from your tennis.
This is what's missing from your tennis. And I think that compliment both bothers Art and also enlightens him. And that's why he makes that move. And I don't think Patrick was ever really surprised, because he said, you're just waiting for me to fuck up. And that same day, 4 hours later, he was like, okay, am I Patrick Zweig apologist?
Yes.
I am. Is he a lazy little Nepo baby? Yes. Is he so cute? Did he just want to have some fun with his besties?
He's just a little slut looking for a good time.
Yeah.
I can't knock him for that.
And he was right.
And he was right. And he does, at the end, make the choice that makes his friend be a better player. Obviously, there's like the logistics of whether or not Art actually wins because of the hug. I don't give a fuck. I'm not here to.
I don't care about who wins.
I don't care.
They all went to go fuck after that.
Absolutely. And that's the thing, is like, that is what he does. He makes this move, and Art becomes a better player because of it. All right, sound bites. So this is the section where we whip off our sound bites. We talk about the couple qualms we have, where we do have to put our hater hats on and chat, because Kayla, you have some issues. You have some issues with the melodrama of the film.
The fucking wind. Okay?
Darn wind.
Why is it when Tashi cheats it becomes Twisters? It upsets me to no end. It's so frustrating. And I thought that, like, oh, Atlanta, oh wow, they're gonna cancel this game. It has no bearings on whatever the fuck was happening in Atlanta. It's just the air. It's the winds of change. It's the fucking cheating. Cheating's in the air.
Yeah. I think what gets me more than the wind is the use of the freeze frame when they're kissing on the car. So it's like a tongue-in-cheek way of doing this that I think is fun.
The wind is different. The wind, I don't think is related. The wind is egregious. The wind is wrong. The wind, I don't know how much it costs, but it costs too much.
And you're equally upset, if not more. What are you more upset by, the
split
diopter or the wind?
Oh, God. You know, I think I hate them both. The split diopter, right? That's what you said?
Yeah.
God, they both upset me.
I just think it could have been done better. I think what really bothers me about it is the blur. Maybe because it's the back of her head.
Yeah.
I feel like so often split diopters do use the front of a person's head. And so because it's just her hair, it like is really lifeless and it looks very fake. Like, yeah. I don't think it was. I don't think it
blends with the overall vibe of the movie. Like, I feel like the tennis scenes are so different.
You don't like being in the POV of a tennis ball? POV, you're hearing up close and personal.
Those are the best parts. I love them. I can listen to that all day. Like, that should be in the soundtrack. But no, I don't like that. I don't think that it blends. I think I'm not saying it's bad cinematography, but I think good cinematography is a feeling, and it's consistent. And it's like, it matches. Like, this feels very mismatched. And yeah, I think it's just trying to do too much in a way that's too on the nose. And it's trying to tell you what to think, i.e. the wind, i.e. that fucking Hark Are the Angels chorus going about.
The children singing in the background.
Like the fucking Whoville. Like,
I have a problem with the ending. And it's purely an editing choice. I think the film takes too long in between the catharsis of the boys hugging, the men, the little boys.
No, they're boys.
Hugging, and Zendaya's reaction of the come on. I feel like the come on feels awkward because so much time happens. And again, with the slow-mo, like, they slow-mo her reaction, and then they slow-mo their hug, and then the come on. I really would have liked it. I think also her come on is too short. I really would have liked it if, like, it echoed and, like, reverberated. If it was like a come on, like, it faded a bit more. It just feels, like, jarring in a way that I don't think works.
Yeah, if it had, like, slow-mode them hugging and, like, all the sound cuts out, and then it speeds up and she's yelling come on in the back,
Yeah, I don't think you needed her fully slow-mo.
Yeah,
like you can have a little bit of her slow-mo as she realizes, as she's getting up, as they're coming closer. But yeah. But other than that, in terms of the script, I'm sorry, I don't have any issues with the script.
No, the script is
I think it's immaculate.
fantastic.
I think it's so good.
My one line is that, oh, I'm taking such good care of my little white boys. That
fair.
It didn't need to be there. It feels weird in there. And I feel like the racism in tennis comes at I have no idea. But, like, at least with Serena, we see it at the world stage. Like,
with the anger, with the way she expresses herself.
Anger, yeah, and that's a big deal, and I think that's an important part. And I think that's a good connection to make between them. But I wish that maybe the race ideas came more from Patrick and Art. Sorry, I forgot his name. He's so important. I wish that came from Patrick and Art rather it all being on Zendaya, or Tashi's character.
Fair, and also, like, the fact that she does have mixed parents, and we see that her father is black, but then he kind of disappears.
Yeah.
And maybe we're meant to imply that because he was kind of her tennis person. And when that tennis is gone, what role does he play in her life? And now her white mother is the caretaker, the domestic one. She's around. We don't see her father. They mention him. They're like, oh, we got to call dad. But, like, he's out of her life. And I'm like, these are things that, like, are kind of there, but they're not there. Would they have been good if they were more there? Like,
I don't know. Yeah. And I think that's interesting.
I feel like that's been another one of the major qualms is the conversations that have come from challengers. The way people have handled it being sexy but without sex has been the most infuriating part of having the challengers.
Like, that's the whole point. The fact that you can call something without sex sexy, and the fact that it's so homoerotic, because I think that that's also a big thing. But the main source of sexual tension is between two men, so I don't know what everybody's talking about. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sometimes the sex is implied. And it's really good. Sometimes it's outside of an Applebee's.
Sometimes you have to put your purse on the ground to have the sex
you
come out of your
should
life.
Never put your purse on the ground. There was definitely room to put it on the Jeep.
Let him hold it. That is challengers.
That is challengers. And I think it's an incredibly well done film. I will say.
I really do.
I like the dynamics. I like that there's so many layers to it. There's so many things that we didn't talk about, like the shirts.
I want to say that Zendaya says the word pussy twice, and it's both times calling Art a pussy. That's important to me.
I think that's important to her as well. We have not talked enough about Lily, and I have so much to say about her, but we love you, Tashi. We see you. We hear you. We carry you in our hearts. We carry you in our conversations. I'm so serious. Does that help? I think it's easy to be nice when you like the movie.
It is. And I think what's interesting about this podcast is that the point is not to talk about movies that make us upset or that we feel like we have to struggle to be nice to. I think this one works out because we did like it, but the concept of being a mean person is important to the script. And the idea of being a hater through art also is important to this film.
Yeah.
And how sometimes that's what it'll be. Like, sometimes we'll talk about movies that we really didn't like. To provide some background, I guess, if you're interested in who your hosts are. My name is Soda, and I am a film critic, and a lot of the times I will defer my work to my lovely editor, Kayla, because I use too many words.
I am a freelance editor because I'm the Patrick Zweig of writing. I cannot put pen to paper, but, if I did, you guys would be in trouble.
Kayla and I have collaborated for several years
so
now.
Long. Oh my gosh.
We went to high school together.
We did.
Theater class is where we trauma bonded.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hope you like our theatrics. They were engraved in us against our will. But thank you so much for listening. I hope it was a fun, interesting conversation.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
Thank you. Bye, haters.
Bye, haters.